Hey there, internet friends. In this video I'm going to show you how to take all this stuff here and turn it into this really cool magical dice bottle that when you turn it upside down rolls a D20. So I'll show you how to make one of these right now with everything in front of you. Here's what you're going to need. You need just regular white household vinegar, table salt, glycerin, food dye. I use the Wilton gel dye. I'll explain why in a minute, but food dye, some mixing containers, a scale if you have one, otherwise you can just kind of eyeball it, a container to make your potion bottle, some E6000 sealant, a couple toothpicks, your dye of course, and a measuring tool of some sort, and finally you're going to need some mica powder. I use the Jacquard Pearl X because I really like it, but you can use whatever brand you like. So with all these things here, we will get started on your potion bottle. Okay, so I've done the math for you. The maximum solubility of table salt in water, or in this case vinegar, since vinegar is just a 7% solution of acetic acid in water, is going to be 85 grams to 8 ounces. So you want to measure out 8 ounces of vinegar. And then we're going to need 85 grams of table salt. And if you don't have a scale, you can just kind of eyeball this. It works out to right around 2 ounces on this measuring cup. I'm not sure that that's true of all measuring cups, but I'll show you what it looks like here in a minute. 80, 85. There we go. So there we have our 85 grams of table salt, just shy of 2 ounces on the measuring cup, 8 ounces of vinegar, and then what we are going to do is just mix in our salt into our vinegar. I recommend doing it in little batches so that you get the maximum solubility. Once you have all of your salt dissolved into your water, you're going to have kind of a murky brine solution. Just in case you're wondering, vinegar and salt, if you added a little bit of water and some sugar to it, you'd have a really good pickle brine also. One of the reasons that I use vinegar instead of isopropyl alcohol is that I don't like making products that are toxic. And I've just recently figured out a way to make my potion bottles with vinegar and glycerin rather than isopropyl alcohol. So it makes them a little bit less toxic. Okay, so now that you have your solution, what I like to do is I like to color this before we put it into the potion bottle because it's just a lot easier to work in the larger cup. You're going to see that you have some salt left in the bottom of the cup. That's fine. When we go to pour in, the liquid that comes off the top will be clear and saturated with salt, and the salt will stay on the bottom and all will be well. So let's go ahead and get that colored. I've chosen to do a nice blue. So again, I'm using the Wilton food dye, icing dye in the gel. I find these to be really convenient because you can just kind of stick a toothpick inside and then just dip them in and swirl them around and you get that nice rich color. So we're going to make that a nice blue. There we go. And then we're going to give that a little bit of a stir just to mix it up. Make sure there's no dye hanging around in there. Alright, so now we have our base color. We'll take our bottle here just a little bit of glycerin. I don't have an exact measurement for this. Basically, I just eyeball until I cover the very bottom of the bottle that I'm using. So you can see there that I've just got a little bit in the bottom. Not very much. You don't need a whole lot. And then we will drop our dye in the bottle. And then we will fill the bottle with our vinegar solution. And you want to fill that about halfway to start. And I'll show you why here in a minute. I like to add my mica powder while the bottle's about halfway full, because that way it has a chance to integrate as we're filling it the rest of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So we're just going to take some mica powder and drop that in. We have our mica powder. We're about halfway full in the bottle. It's coming together. We're just going to go ahead and top it off with the vinegar solution. And you're going to want to get as close to the top of the bottle as you can. And the reason for that is when you flip it upside down, you don't want an air bubble obscuring the way the dye looks. So let's go ahead and top this off. There we go. That's about as close to the top as I can make it, I think. So then you can already see that we've got a nice effect going on down here with the mica powder mixing in. Then we're going to take our cap and our E6000, and we're going to just run a bead of sealant around the inside of the cap. You don't want it to be so thick that it leaks into the bottle, so try to keep it on the threads as much as you can. And then what I like to do after I've put this bead on is just take a toothpick and run it around the inside to kind of spread it out a little bit. So take this and a toothpick and just make sure that we've got good coverage on the threads, because we don't want our potion bottle leaking. And now that we've got a good coverage on our threads there, make sure that we got everything on the inside, we're going to go ahead and seal it up. Going to make sure that your cap goes on straight and tight, because you do want a good seal on these so they don't leak. And there you have it. There's your very own dice rolling potion bottle. You can see the swirl there, and if we turn it upside down, oh, we got some mica powder on the bottom. Let's give it a good shake. There we go. And there's your die. So if you've been interested in making these potion bottles for rolling die, I hope that helps you out. They are pretty easy to make, and you can make them with stuff that, aside from the mica powder, you probably have around the house. So I hope that helps you out, and if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them in the comments. Have a great day, everybody.